animals, a float of crocodiles, a bloom of jellyfish, a bouquet of pheasants. That's a lot going on, so I'll tell you the longer story about how I got all that done. So I was fortunate enough to grow up when Henson Studios was making cool things like The Dark Crystal, The Secret of Nim was out, and The Never Ending Story dropped, which might as well have been manna from heaven for me. And those three films taught me one thing, and that was if you were going to make a good story and a complete story, you had to embrace both the light and the shadows. Now, I knew early on that I wanted to tell stories through visual medium, and I made my first comic book when I was 11 about skateboarding. It's called Life at the Half Pipe, and it was about a dude and his pupper who happened to be better at skating than he was, and had a little bit of comic violence, a little bit of blood, typical skater stuff, kind of R-rated Snoopy. And but as I got older, I really fell in love, deeply in love with skateboard culture. It was incredible. The DIY culture is what resonated the most with me. People were making their own t-shirts, their own stickers, their own music, building their own ramps, buying blank decks, making their own graphics. I loved it. They were customizing their world, and that just lit me up. This issue of Thrasher magazine dropped in my lap, and it featured the artwork of Robert Williams, who pioneered the lowbrow art movement and went on to found Juxtaposed magazine. And it taught me that you could be cartoonish and you could be punk rock, but you could also elevate your art to finer levels. So fast forward a lot of years, I started messing with oil paints, and I also developed some writing skills, so I wanted to see if I could mesh those two things together. So I wrote a full-length novel, 3 drafts of it, and I did 5 paintings that served as visual doorways into each of the character stories within the book. That project alone took me about 3 years, and I did complete that part of it, and though it was my first taste of building a world truly from the ground up. But the book isn't published yet, and a few rejections, a few exhibition proposals I sent out were met with rejections. It was okay because I unlocked another achievement where I was actually able to do some voiceover for some Japanese anime, and that was random and awkward and awesome.
You're making a big mistake. Neither Shun nor Jabu is your opponent in this match. You're up on the tournament board as my opponent. I am Wolf. Prepare yourself, Iki.
So that was fun, but back to the artwork and other serious stuff. This is a bigger installation piece that I did where I used the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse to represent kind of my growing concerns about our culture of unending war that's funded by corporate sponsorship, blind patriotism, and really just believing false narratives that are propagated by the media. But on a lighter note, something cool happened. And a guy came by and asked me if I wanted to illustrate his children's book. And I thought, you know what? I need a break from the heavy stuff. That sounds like a great idea. So I'm gonna do it with a brand new medium. Papercraft and watercolors. And it was cool, but I actually almost quit this project 3 separate times because it turns out 26 of those hand-painted illustrations is a mountain of work. But I'm glad I didn't, because I'm able to stand here today and shake you guys all the way back to my childhood with a still from The Never Ending Story, with our young hero Atreyu passing through the Southern Oracle, and me getting to reference it in my own children's book with the illustration titled Implausibility of News, because that's what a group of news is called. Who knew? So I'm continuing that. Apparently the punishment of making all those illustrations, I liked it, because I'm continuing with some new characters, some new stories. I've got new worlds planned, and I'm going to back all of this stuff up with some stickers, some merchandise, some apparel, and I've already started illustrations for the second children's book, and I'm also going to back that with the same kind of marketing, and I can't tell you a lot about it, but I can tell you it's going to be in the same style as The Chowder of Cats, and it's going to be about every kid's favorite subject, poop. So what's going on now? Well, I've got 26 original pieces of artwork from A Chowder of Cats sitting in my studio, taking up space in these beautiful handmade boxes. I'm actively looking for gallery space to exhibit and sell these so that I can get some money and fund and light the fuses on these other projects that I've been talking about. So that'd be another achievement unlocked. Anyway, this has been an incredibly transformative experience hanging out. There's so much talent in this room, and just want to thank Mid-America Arts Alliance, Fresh Arts, and Artist Inc. Really do hope that we can all stay in touch and keep up on each other's projects. And if you want to hit me up, nathanparmer.com. That's my Pecha Kucha.